In a world where dreams are made and fortunes are built. Meet 10 extraordinary entrepreneurs. They are risk takers, innovators, and visionaries. They navigate the ever-changing landscape of business. Witness their triumphs and challenges as they strive to turn their ideas into a reality. Get ready for the thrilling journey into the world of the real entrepreneur. Previously on The Real Entrepreneur, the first set of 5 contestants have demonstrated their skill set for Ms. Kadada, and it seemed like they were able to execute on the challenge by delivering. However, Kadada wasn't pleased with Dr. Aisha's presentation and gave some constructive feedback. But there is more in store, as this week we have the remaining 5 contestants to finish. Will Dr. Aisha be safe, or will she end up in the judgment zone and potentially go home? Tune in for this week to find out. Are you ready for more ambition, surprises, and unforgettable moments as the journey continues on who will be crowned the real entrepreneur?
Entrepreneurship isn't guesswork, it's strategy. Fox Point Academy mentors entrepreneurs to launch strong, scale to 6 figures, and access real capital from business, branding, marketing, credit to funding. We build you to last. Fox Point Academy, where instinct meets strategy. Register at foxpoint.institute.
I feel great. I feel good actually. It's something that I'm familiar with. You know, I do branding for a lot of companies, so I feel pretty confident about it. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, the judges have the last word, so we'll see. Kadada Asmera, quiet power, loud victories. Kadada Asmera Gray believes that women don't need to be louder to be powerful. They need to be clear, strategic, and rooted in who they are. Named Kadada Asmera, meaning sister butterfly, she was born in a Caribbean culture where tradition, expectation, and ambition don't always coexist easily, especially for women. When she became a mother as a teenager, the world assumed her story had narrowed. Instead, it sharpened. That moment became the foundation of her life's work, helping women define success for themselves and move through the world without shrinking, hardening, or betraying who they are. For more than 25 years, Kadada has done one thing exceptionally well. She helps people, especially women, navigate conflict, power, and identity without losing themselves. In addition to her writing, speaking, and consulting, Kadada Asmera offers a mentorship called Quiet Power Mentorship for women seeking deeper guidance, a space where strategy, intuition, and lived experience come together to support women navigate in power, purpose, and transition, and includes work addressing the manosphere, helping women navigate modern dating, communication, and power with awareness rather than fear. Kadada Asmera's brand is focused and intentional. She is no longer interested in doing everything, only the essential work. She doesn't teach women how to fight. She teaches them how to move, quietly, strategically, and on their own terms. Kadada Asmera helps women win without noise and walk away whole. Join her 90-day mentorship today at quietpowermentorship.com. And to explore Kadada's work, writing, and offerings, and to learn more about the impact she's creating, visit her official website at kadada-asmera.com. There you'll find information about her speaking, coaching, consulting, and current projects.
So great job, Tony. I first want to say you dressed exceptionally well.
Thank you.
I do like the way that you came. You definitely came with your confidence. You came with, you got some masks.
I also made a personal brand logo, and this logo is just an idea to go together with a mentorship that she can offer to encompass all of her offerings in one kind of package.
Yeah. So I do love the fact that one of the things that I noticed that you did that no one else did, you did a call to action. You literally talked about signing up for this 90-day mentorship program. Like I said, you came in with a lot of confidence. I felt like you really grasped who she was as a person and what she was trying to accomplish. So I think you did a good job.
Presentation was great, very flowing. I like the way that you delivered it, very unique. You really highlighted her, broke her down. It was very crystal clear in what she does and her passions. For me, I would have liked for you to present these solutions prior to the ending of your presentation, because for me, I heard everything that you said, and if you were on a big stage and you were announcing her, like, absolutely, but during your presentation, I did not hear solutions, but I did like the call to action. So for me, it's more of saying, what can she do better? What can she highlight better? And just, maybe solution focused for her business, but you look extremely sharp. You were very poised in your presentation and very flowing. So I appreciated that.
So I am a tad bit confused, and I'm going to tell you why. Because do you think I coach men?
No, I specifically said women and black and brown in the presentation.
So you don't think I have male clients?
No, I believe that you go across all genders and generations. So I don't think you specifically only, do women. I do, and that's why I spoke about in the presentation that you do cover the board. But I do know that your target audience, like you mentioned earlier, was women and, black and brown individuals.
Okay. My next question is because you actually said something that was really dangerous. It was counter to my brand. Around the idea of, I'm writing this book, or I have written a book about the manosphere and what women should look for. And you said in the beginning, and I hope I misheard you, about this idea of women being a certain way, being quiet, and that's not what my book is about. And so, and I know you had to take a quick synopsis and not without really having the book and reading it through, because I was like, I would never want that put out there and have that associated with my brand, because that's dangerous to women. In empowerment of women, I need them to be whole, but I also need them to know how to move, right? Whether it's quietly, but it's an enhancement and not bowing, like almost bowing away from the male gaze and and that relationship with men. And that's what caught me. And it was kind of like, wait a minute, hold on, because that's not, I would never promote that.
Yeah,
So
that's not what I was.
So imagine that I'm hearing all of this, and what I took away, right, was very confusing. So here we are for a clarity moment, right? I like that you actually, the call to action, I think that was really great. I do like your suggestion of doing a quiet power mentorship. I think that's interesting, because I do like wordplay. And quiet power is definitely wordplay, and you have to, I always wonder where people are going to get stuck, the quiet or the power, because it lends itself to two different things, right? That's in the teaching mode. Thank you for doing the graphics, because I actually created the one at the bottom that you have with the kadada with the butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
AI kind of does that. So I laughed. I like that. Actually, the same exact coloring too. So I like that. I too was looking for the shortfalls. Where am I falling short? What can I do to strengthen them, streamline the process? I didn't hear the solutions
Well,
as much as I want to.
If you like to hear it. Oh,
But I guess you would have to email it to me.
Sure.
So I just think that is that was for me. I was kind of like hoping, like I was riding along with you, and I felt like if we had maybe 5 more minutes, we would have arrived there. But that we didn't. We ran out of time, right? We ran out of time, and you do look good in brown. You do look very good in brown, and all the little sister girls are gonna be all excited to see you. So thank you. But I do want to say this to you around when a woman works with women, there is a strengthening there that sometimes you have to ask for more clarity about what that means. Because when you take it from a male's perspective, it can sound very demeaning to women. and puts in the same kind of adjectives and tropes that women should fall under to be successful. And so even though I write my books with a stream of thought as being a woman through that, I actually coach men and women. That same type of quietness that I talk about, it's not necessarily about silence. It's not even about whispering. It's about the way that you show up. And, I always tell people, you show up in a room before you, right? Let you show up first and let your physical presence come afterwards.
Right.
And that's where I think I got stuck. I really did get stuck because I was like, oh no, if people think that's my brand, I would take my own self out of business. And I would be real counterintuitive to the work that I do in all streams of thought in all of the industries that I'm in, because I want to uplift everybody.
So for me, I really did think that Tony did a good job. I felt like he could have did a little bit more emotional connection, but then again, being since that he is, I just felt like he could have done a little bit more emotional connection. But overall, I think he did a good job. I think he's very clear. I think his clarity was there. I think the originality was there. To a degree in the brand alignment. His presentation was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. He had great eye contact, yes. Even when he was doing the live stream. Mm-hmm. He had great eye contact. He had great eye contact even standing before. So I think he did a pretty decent job. He is not the worst that I've seen.
I think that he did a great job. His flow was wonderful. It was very even. I felt like he did have an emotional connection with this. I feel like he delivered it in his own unique way from a presentation standpoint. He came out, he had solutions, but he brought them out after. He ran out of time. Mm-hmm. And so for me, if I'm judging on what I'm seeing during your time, it looks to me that you didn't have solutions. And so I would have liked him to present those solutions beforehand, because that would have helped him stand out a lot more. Right. Because there were a lot of people that didn't present solutions.
Yeah. Now his call to action was amazing.
Yes,
because he was the only one
that
had a call to action.
Yes.
And so I felt like that was one solution that he did bring forward, and it kind of helped him, find that balance and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
I think Tone was the second person, if I recall correctly, to come up with a new vision.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Take it into a different level. Right.
Absolutely.
So respect that. I do think the time for him is definitely an issue, because being more succinct, really upfront, get those bullet points up front would have been a lot more helpful, right? Because I knew they were coming, right? He said I do have them, right? I do have them, and I want to point out that being charismatic is a gift. It really is a gift. Being able to execute under your charismatic character, right, can be a challenge sometimes, because sometimes you lean into your charisma versus leaning more into the execution. And that's what we actually want. We want the execution, whether male or female. And so we are missing some of that. We've had some that have really leaned into their personal gifts, mm-hmm. and was able to execute because of what they do. Mm-hmm. And how they're able to translate, right? So we need to understand that when we hear things, right? I go back to the active listening, and there's actually 17 different types of listening styles, to be honest. And making sure that if, you need to ask more questions of clarity. Am I going down the right path? Because I think all the entrepreneurs will need to learn that, mm-hmm. asking questions,
yes.
even outside of the space to get clarity, this is not lean into your own understanding.
Absolutely.
If it's unclear, right? Because what you think you heard may not actually be true, mm-hmm. right? True. And so, I don't knock, it is human nature to hear and filter through your own lens. It is. We have to sharpen that skill, though, to know when we need to focus. So when we're not just hearing, we're actually active listening, where we're no longer having a solution already in mind, right? We're actually a blank slate, which is practice. It is hard to have a blank slate, blank like, I can't even say the word. You cannot be without thought. I'm going to say it that way. And then try to answer a question. And that's where we get caught up, because if you have your own thought process, your own judgments, your own versions of the world, it gets really messy when you're trying to be a solution architect, because that's what we're actually asking people to do, is be a solution architect to the problem that has been presented to them.
Yes,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree
So-
with you 100%. And just to add to that, and it's really important because we've had male contestants, we've had female contestants, and how the audience is going to view something based on whether it's coming from a male or coming from a female.
Exactly.
So you've got to be really, careful.
Because perspective
About that.
is everything.
And
Honestly, perspective
so-
is everything.
And here's the interesting thing about, okay, I just want to say, male or female, right? We have to get ourselves out of it. We have to learn how to remove ourselves out of it. And that's for the audience too. But that's not what reality TV is.
I think I did great. I put in my best. I did, the things that I know that I've done multiple times. So, like I said, we're gonna see. The judge is gonna, give their judgment, and we're gonna see how it goes. But I'm pretty confident about it.
It's not just about pointing and shooting, it's about delivering a quality product and giving each client a memorable experience. At SnapX Photography, we enjoy turning moments into memories. For more info, call or text 901-498-0625.
I feel that the first challenge is already pulling out of me to stretch to the next level in showing up. I feel that it's something that, because it's something that I do and easily able to do, that I kind of got in my head in making sure that I bring up perfection when actually all I have to do is show up. Kadada Asmir Gray is more than a name. She is the movement, rooted in vision, creativity, and unapologetically authentic. Whether storytelling, speaking, or activism, she is a brand champion for self-confidence, self-discovery, and growth for the Black and brown woman. In life, we do and will relate to others. Kadada powerfully believes, teaches, and lives that in order to live and relate to others, we must do so without conflict. Along with obtaining several degrees, Kadada is a speaker, a conflict trainer, a world-renowned published author of several books. Chaos. It's heard on the radio and it's seen on TV, yet nobody hears the silent screams in me. Kadada does. Kadada has triumphed over her own personal challenges. Thus, she is needed. She is now. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. I know. I was a woman who has overcome many major triumphs. Yet that with all the accolades and accomplishments, Kadada shows up as Kadada. She speaks with great volumes. Why? Because people are won over by the words of her testimony. She is the story. She is the brand.
Thank you so much, Renee. Miss Attitude, I like it. I like it. Your confidence, it bleeds out. It literally bleeds out. When I literally was watching you, I felt like I was watching a commercial on BET. You spoke with so much clarity. I like the way your voice, it animated. Even when you presented yourself, it brought her brand to life. I love the fact that, you literally thought about who she was and what she brings to the table. I felt like your emotional connection was definitely there. You did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree. And what I loved the most was watching you watch yourself and the pride that you had in yourself, because you knew that you stepped out there and girl, you delivered it. You had your uniqueness. I love that about you. You pulled in some of your own talents and how you highlighted her, which was so powerful. You were present, you were clear, everything was crystal clear. And you were polished. You were so polished. I don't even think you really stuttered, to be honest with you. So good job.
I appreciate that.
Great job.
Great job. Excuse me. I feel like I sat and watched myself get delivered out, and I was like, wait a minute, okay, wait, I didn't even know. And you spoke to me, I can tell you spoke to me because it was poetic. It was rhythmical, it had a lot of energy, all the things that I like and hopefully try to push out to the world. So I think you did a great job. Your delivery was different. And we're not looking for traditional. I'm not looking for traditional because I think that there's a space for that. I don't think that's my brand, so I appreciate that. I just have to remark the glasses because I see you changed your whole outfit, including the glasses, which I love even more. And you said something at the end though, that when you said, I am this, I wasn't too sure who you were talking about. Were you talking about you or were you talking about me?
Okay, so the statement that I understand, because I too
Yes.
was a woman, that was my my emotional connection to understanding that you are relatable, which one is the characteristics that you indicated that you were, and making the impactful statement that although you have accomplishments and acknowledgments, people are more won over by who you are as a person, authentically showing up as yourself. And so I made it relatable because as I heard you give your information, if I can relate to your story, others can resonate as well. And they're more impacted by who you are showing up than the accolades. So you are the need, you are the noun, you are the brand.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
I loved her.
I did too.
When I tell you she came, I said, okay, BET, like it felt like a commercial.
Yeah.
It's like, I like her. She did
Yeah.
a phenomenal job for me.
Yeah. Her background and what she does really set her up for this. It sets her up for her public speaking, her stage presence, and really being able to connect because that's what she has to do. That's what she does for a living. And I think that she did a great job. It was absolutely crystal clear. I had not one question about you, your story, what you do, what you believe in, what you stand for. Not one iota of a question.
Nice. She's raised the game.
Yeah, for sure.
And I also want to just point out it's getting better. So far, it's getting better. And I don't know if that's the caliber of the individuals that are coming before us, but I can tell that who's thinking through a lot of these issues. How do I present in a way that holds my own? Because she held her own. She was on brand for herself, as well as she was willing to take herself to put another brand in that space. And so I appreciated that, appreciated her. And it's a different way. You know, storytelling, brand stories come in so many different ways.
Yes.
The storyboard, something very traditional. And for me, I enjoyed it being more lyrical, but I like movement. I like music. I like those types of things. And I think that does resonate with, and will resonate with a lot of people. Because we have to have a vessel to deliver. And I think that she was able to deliver the message very differently. Just by who she is. So I think it's getting better. I'm getting more and more excited.
Good.
Her voice was so animated.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me think about when a person read like children's books or books and how they narrate each character. Like, I just saw that. So that I just saw it in her.
I think that she's the first person that made me actually want to go and find you. The way she delivered you, I'm like, oh, does she have a TV show? I need to go look at. Like the way she just delivered you, that made me want to go look for you.
That's what she does. I'll let her know.
So,
to that.
hey, they got to watch out for Miss Renee.
I'm going to be totally honest, as I am very transparent. My natural self believes I could have done more. But the encouraging self, one of self-affirmation, says, I gave what I gave. And that's how I feel about it.
Tired of drama? Choose destiny. Break free from distractions and live in purpose. Be inspired, informed, empowered. Download the free app, live365.com. Search DoD Radio for 24 hours of music and more. There is destiny over drama.
I'm gonna give myself some credit. I think I did well. I mean, I pulled it together. It was very nervous wracking. I'm probably still nervous right now about it, but yes, first challenge was nervous, very nerve-wracking. It was excited. I went into it with excitement, and then I just had to kind of keep myself and pull myself together in it to keep it together and to stay on track. So it was definitely a challenge. It was definitely challenging. Hey guys, this is Barbara Boyd with Victory Wellness Massage, where you experience the winning touch. Now, the simplest way to understand Kadada is Mara Gray is this. She helps people transform conflict into clarity so they can move forward with confidence. The people Kadada serves aren't broken. They're overwhelmed. They're navigating conflict in relationships, leadership, workplaces, and life transitions. Internally, they feel stuck, misunderstood, or unsure how to move forward. And life shouldn't feel this heavy, especially when the right tools can change everything. And that's where Kadada comes in. Not as the hero, but the guide. She's a Caribbean-born, New York-raised, experiences that shaped her ability to navigate diverse perspectives and high-pressure environments with clarity and calm. Okay, hi ladies. My story presentation about Kadada was to really tie in all of her talents and her gifts that she has and passions about serving people. I wanted to let everyone know the experiences. There's an issue or a problem in the community, and she is the solution for that. And all of her many talents and gifts are the ones that really hone in and bring those people together. And she's very talented with it, being passionate about showing up in her community with the women and just especially the African American community as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. One, I'm going to tell you that you gave me a little panic.
Okay.
You used the word repeatable.
Okay.
Because you never want to tell a competitor that what you do, they can repeat. Because that takes away business, right? Because I want to feel special enough to think that what I do is harder for someone else to do, right? That's so. I do think that you did a great job summarizing me, but I still don't know I didn't hear strategies. I don't know the how. I don't know what needs to be fixed, what exactly needs to be addressed. What is the conflict point, right? That I was seeking. So that's just what I can give you off of top of mind at the moment.
That's understandable. I would second that. More solution focused. But what I would say is I like the way that you kind of broke it down and simplified the language and put meaning behind it to help people truly understand what some of those things are. People can read words, but they may not always understand the meaning behind the words. And you did a really good job of explaining that and breaking that down and simplifying it so that almost anybody can understand what she does.
Yes, I just want to piggyback on something that she stated earlier about the repeatedly. That kind of stood out to me as well as a sore thumb, because anytime you're in any type of industry, you want to make sure that you stand out. You want to make sure that you're special, because there's 100 hairstylists. When you go into the store, and you go to the bread aisle, there's so many different brands of bread, but why do you like, the specific brand of bread that you like? And so what I would have liked for you to see is, because I heard you talk about it a little bit, but just bring more of who she is and what it is that she does to the forefront, so that it makes her stand out, as a person. I think a little bit you kind of got lost in me a little bit, and I think it was more so nervousness. I noticed that even when you were standing up presenting, you weren't as confident as I know you could be. I definitely feel like there's confidence there, but I think you just wasn't as confident as you could be, and I think you were a little unsure about, did you get a good understanding of what the brand story was? Or did you get enough clarity, or were you kind of still trying to figure it out?
It could possibly be a little bit of everything. I think what I was, my angle probably was more so finding the issue with the community, or finding the issue and her being that solution. So it just kind of pitches her as the brand in total. But I think I understand that she was, trying to create and put more emphasis on what makes her different from just everybody, and how can we utilize her as being a unique brand. So, yes.
I could definitely tell you researched me, because you named a couple things that no one else has named. So no one else has mentioned my Grown Girls brand, where I specifically deal with women and women's issues related to women. No one else discussed the fact that I'm a mediator and a negotiator. So I can tell you did some research on me, so I appreciate that. But I think that you saying that just now, literally the idea of taking the community issues, everything that's out there, and then, interjecting me into that space, right, as a solution, that was probably the clearest moment that you had. And it made me wonder that you had like the 3x5 cards, you had some note page, and I'm like, what's she gonna read off the notes?
I just went with it.
I know. And so practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Right? Practice makes perfect. And even as you're going through the challenges, as you're moving through life, I promise you, stand in front of a mirror and talk.
Okay.
Just talk. Because it becomes easier. Get over that, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Because there really is, it feels like there's a right and wrong answer.
Right.
Right? Because there's a punishment that comes at the end of it, right? You could be removed. However, the biggest challenge is, can you define, can you assess, and can you answer the questions that's coming your way, right? Whether, and you have to be able to think on your feet, but you'll be able to answer those questions if you know something inside and out. And that's why it's important to really hone on to the question that's asked of you, and then taking on the challenge to say, okay, let me find this little gap. And I always share with people, you want to find the gap in the process, right? That's what the conflict is looking for the gap. That gap is where your business will grow. Whether you're talking to another brand, another challenge, and even your own brand, it's always the gap in the center.
Amazing feedback. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay.
I feel like this was the case with the nerves. If anything was to be paramount at the top, was when your nerves get a hold of you, and you don't know what to do, so you just kind of roll with it, and she doesn't know how to recover from that. And that, I think that was unfortunate, because I think she has it, whatever the it is, right? But she can't get past her nerves and calm them down enough to be able to answer the question. I really felt sad that she didn't even read off of her note cards.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely the nerves. I think, we all have our moments, our days, our times, and she can be a very confident person. She presents well, and both in dress and then also the way she talks. And I just think that this was a slip up as far as, just nerves got the best of her. And, but had they not, and she could have just connected the dots a little bit more, I think this would have been a really great presentation.
Because for me, it was almost like a hit and miss.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was almost like a hit and a miss because, like I said, and as you stated, the nerves, it just completely took over. Like, even in the, because I watched her as she watched herself, and she was smiling and everything like that. And then when she got in front of us, it was like I could just see the shaking, I could see the nerves. And sometimes when that kicks in, your mind just goes blank.
Yeah.
And I think she just forgot everything that, I do feel like it could have been so much better.
Yeah.
I would like to see her more moving forward in different challenges. In different challenges is maybe, because I do feel like she can be confident.
Yes.
I just feel like this right here was the one, it wasn't,
Recovery for her was hard.
Yes.
That's the
for sure.
the beginning of a masterclass in how to recover. That example was right there. And then what happens, forgive me if I get a little scientific, but when your vagus nerve starts to fire off, where your emotional connections are just firing and you don't know how to recover, what do you do? And she didn't have one, she could have ran off because she didn't, so she stayed. So that was a good thing, right? That fight or flight, she decided to stay, but she froze, which in certain instances is a good skill to have, however, not in business.
Also, what I would say is, one thing I have noticed with people with the history of this show, when you have that level of nervousness, it comes from the fact that you want to excel and want to win so bad. It's like, I don't want to be critiqued on, like, I'm so scared, like, they're not going to like what I'm doing, or they're not going to like this. And so that, you can tell she wants it.
And now, I think I did good. I did acceptable. I did what I think I understood the assignment. So that's how I feel good about myself, that I'm confident enough to be prepared to present it. So I'm ready. And all I can do is just go for it.
Hello, I'm Lakosha Long, CEO of Lady Moss of the Sea. We offer 100% all-natural, wild-crafted sea moss, packed with 92 nutrients for daily wellness. Our mission? Empower, enlighten, educate on health with a pure, holistic approach. Call or text 678-300-1534.
No cap, no gimmicks, this is how it feels. Dreams get tested, but
I think it was interesting. I don't believe it's not hard to me, being that Kadada she's all about women empowerment, and so I think she aligns with what I do. She has some different things, but I think it's a natural flow, so I think it's okay. So it wasn't too bad. Okay, so today I'm gonna come up with the brand for Kadada as Mara Gray. And so what I came up with is I'm gonna call this brand for her the Butterfly Strategist. And the reason I'm doing this is because she did mention that she had a thing for butterflies and how they metamorphosize into great things. And so, so one thing I wanted to do is break it down for her. So I want to, as far as her brand identity, I want to place her in a position as an author, speaker, and a woman's empowerment leader. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to label her as just a consultant or a political strategist. Those are only extensions. And as powerful as Kadada is with all of her accolades and her lived experiences, which she speaks of highly, she needs to be a headline, not an extension. Okay, ladies, so as you can see, I talked about the 4 wings. The next thing I would like to do to upbrand Kadada's is her brand story is her website. When I looked at the website, I know she mentioned things about she wanted people to find her, and she wanted everybody to see exactly what she was about. So my brand story for her would be to actually improve that website. And the idea of that, I will give you a few tabs under the menu that would say about. I have a tab for your books and your poetry. And I also have speaking and training. And then you'll also have women's empowerment programs and consulting by request. You also will have a booking tab where they can book you. Under the women's empowerment program, that's the meat of everything that you're recently working on. That breaks down the dating and the boundaries, the leadership for women.
I wanted to stop you when you walked in, to be honest with you, and you started with this. You missed the total assignment. I believe that what you did is you tried to create a brand for her. She already has a brand. Your job was to tell the brand story. And I don't feel that you did any of that. I feel like you went in and as a consultant and tried to recreate what she's already built. So for me, this entire presentation of yours was an absolute mess, and I'm so sorry.
I actually, you did one thing that you actually took this from this was a business class that you just showed us, right? In terms of, this is MBA 101, right? How you were to break down the assignment. And you actually did that with the mindset, offering up new information. So I will counter in the space of, I am actually asking you for a consultation. So you actually did what you were supposed to do. And you did something too that you may not have realized. I asked, one of my requests was to sharpen the brand. And you actually did that. And note to self that I wrote down, let me call this the team that I'm paying to do my website, because everything you said, I was like, I thought that was on the website. Because obviously it's not evidently really great there. So you actually did for me what so far people have not laid out. And I didn't mind your step-by-step approach, because that laid out, you know, like here's the wings, right? Here's what these, instead of pillars, you said wings. That makes sense to me. That visually makes sense to me. That was very good. And I think, because I did have a question, I'm like, are you suggesting working with formerly incarcerated women?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Because I was unclear about that. And so I think you did, and even I think you said re-entry mindset shift. I think that's powerful language. Things that I had not thought about. So you just stretched my mind from what I presented to you all today. And like I said, you took on the opportunity to actually sharpen what I already have, what you looked at, and I appreciate you for that. So thank you.
Thank you. For me, I would have to agree. I felt like you did a phenomenal job. I felt like your originality was amazing. I love the fact that you talked about, once again, about the 4 wings. For me, it painted a picture, because I could literally see this logo of the butterflies on the page with these 4 wings and the 4 different, like that part for me, it came to life. Because she talked about, you know, the butterfly and the metamorphosis and things of that sort. Once again, I do feel like, I would have to disagree. I do feel like she hit all of the points. I love the fact that you gave it a name. That was something that no one else had done. You literally had a name for her brand story. And you went down and you walked down each thing, you know, that talked about the brand. I felt like you spoke with clarity. I felt like you just really outlined who she was, and like she stated, to make the brand better than what it already is. Just by hearing everything that you said, me being a person standing on the outside, I was like, okay, I can book her. I even love the fact about the website, because she does so many different things. You're like, we're gonna have a tab for this, we're gonna have a tab for that. Literally, it's like a website. I could see it as a landing page, and then it goes into the different things or whatever. So for me, I felt like you did a really amazing job. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. For me, April is my new favorite.
Yeah, I think
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
If she keeps going at the rate that she's going today, she's gonna be something serious to deal with. She's gonna be a force to be reckoned with. She literally understood everything. She took it. She didn't take away from anything that you already had, but she expounded on it. She transformed the brand. Like I said, for me, the butterfly sold me. When she literally put it, because I could visualize this butterfly and these 4 wings on this page, different things, that outline what she did. She hit a nail on for me.
I agree. She did bring it to life where you could visualize it. I'm a visual person, so I can see that. And she did have a really unique way of delivering it that nobody else has.
Yeah, I loved it. I think she was spot on. One of the things that she did for me was how not to make a butterfly look childish.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really important, especially just in the work that I do. So I like that visualization. I'm visual too, and I know that if you close your eyes and you can hear what she's talking about. I like the fact that she was like, listen, you can do more than what you're doing.
Absolutely.
I love that. I like that. And I really, truly believe that, I don't know what her background is, but she literally did a business 101. She literally did an assessment. She did a SWOT analysis, and she did a great opportunity to break it down line by line. And I think that's part of knowing how to present as well, that sometimes it doesn't need to be a story. Sometimes it can just be the facts, because we are looking for the points. We are looking for the highlights. We're looking for the quick execution. So, and I'm not gonna lie, like I don't know about the title. I do appreciate the title, right? The butterfly strategist. I think that is really interesting, but I think that would confuse people. Like that's a lot. In my mind, my name already gives a lot for a lot of people. But I will say that I love the fact that she was just on point. She took this challenge seriously.
Absolutely.
And kudos to her.
Yeah, it was the fact that she gave a title.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, she has a title. Because her originality for this was amazing, her originality. She was very original. Like you can tell she literally, I don't know what they were doing when they were coming up with this, but you could tell she literally like honed in and blocked out whatever anybody else was talking about. And she sat there focused and she was like, this is what I'm talking about. So yeah, I enjoy April.
Yeah. And it sounds like she learned your language, which was very important. The way she presented to you resonated with you very strongly. So she really picked up on how would it be beneficial for me to deliver this to you personally? And she
I agree
it sounds
with you.
like she really hit that on the head.
I also think though that that's the way she moves in her own business. She's breaking it down exactly that way. If she took the time for me to do that, for my brand, she's doing that for her own brand, because she's actually putting a lot of, I'd like to say in my home, I have a lot of Post-it notes on my wall. I have a Post-it note wall, right? She literally was putting all the colors together. She was matching things together. So I truly believe, and I hope that that is what we're going to see continuing on with her, if that's what she does in terms of her own business and these challenges.
Absolutely. Well, sister wearing this crown, if she keep moving like this, she gonna have it in the end.
I know that's right.
I think I did okay. I'm not going home today, but I did good.
At Preferred Waste Solution, we're proud to serve our community with reliable residential and backdoor waste services. As a minority, woman, and veteran-owned company, giving back is at the heart of what we do. Because this community supports us, and we proudly support it.
No cap, no gimmicks, this is how it feels. Dreams get tested, but
I actually enjoyed this challenge. It was something that was close to me as far as the things that Kadada stands for. She's also an author, which is what brought me here for this challenge, for this competition. Being an advocate myself for equal opportunity, and any type of disparaging atrocities, whether it be adult bullying, which is one of the things that I've covered in my book, different trauma stemming from your family, which is one of the things that she mentioned in the interview, which leads me to feel like what I was able to capture in the notes that I took, I'll be able to give a pretty good presentation. Kadada Asmara Gray, CEO of Kadada Asmara Gray LLC. Kadada hails from New York and is not only a powerhouse that serves as a pillar in the community in the Atlanta area, but she is a mom mogul. While she teaches, coaches, and mentors our culture, she also ensures that her son and daughter are also in the know of what she not only teaches but lives by. By doing this, she instills important values into her children, making sure that as young Black men and women, they are in step of what is going on in our society, on how to govern themselves while navigating through life. When she became a teen mom, she was faced with adversity within her own family, from toxic ideologies from her own aunt, who projected her disparaging mindset into her. This experience created a voice in her mind, I shouldn't be here, of which she continues to defy as she excels in her business endeavors. Not only is this a part of her backstory, it is a pivotal part of her testimony. Additionally, what I wanted to expound on is the topic of adult bullying, which is something that basically is a hot topic in the area where I live in Augusta, Georgia right now, ranging from people being harassed on social media, creating fake scenarios to probably try to disparage what a person's business is going through, and trying to, like in my current situation, I can speak for myself, I'm trying to establish my own brand. So what I find in a lot of the people that are my peers that don't want to see me excel, they try to do what they can do to try to buffer that out. So what I found when I was listening to your story, you combat a lot of these same issues that are basically very near and dear for me. And with adult bullying and then going through toxic situations in your family, those are very relatable topics right now in society.
Thank you. I'm a little confused and I'm honest, I don't know where to start. So because I don't know exactly what your brand is, I'm gonna say that it was challenging for you to talk about my brand because you personalized my assignment, right? So I can actually feel the hurt that you're dealing with and what you're trying to do and to accomplish in Augusta and what's happening to you. So I think you hit some of the marks and then some of them didn't. You said some things that I didn't even say that weren't aligned with me. So that was my first kind of thing.
One of the things I can say is the strongest point for me for you was the emotional connection. That was your strong suit because you listened to what she went through or you did your research. I did love the fact that you included her children, but you looked at what she went through and then you compared yourself to, what you're going through. So I felt like you really hit it nail, on the head when it came down to emotional connection. As far as clarity, there wasn't a whole lot of clarity as far as her brand. I heard more about her past and kind of her morals and beliefs, but I didn't quite hear a lot about her brand. One of the things that I would say that I do love that you incorporated was the meaning of her name. Inside of her explaining in the 20-minute deliberation that you guys had, she was very adamant about her name and what it meant and things like that. So I do love that you actually incorporated that, but just more confidence, more clarity, and, just being more original.
I echo a lot of the things that she said. Your emotional connection, spot on, top notch, loved it. I will say is you made this all about you from the time you stepped into the room. And you have to remember who was your audience. You are telling her brand story, not necessarily your story. You did tell about her story, but you really didn't mention what her brand does. You mentioned some things that she does do. And then these bags, are these your bags? Is this your business? Okay, so you're presenting on her business, but you're walking in and giving us a gift from your own business. And so that, again, is drawing away from the whole point of the exercise, creating a brand story and putting a focus on her and putting more of a focus on you. So I would just say going forward, just remember that, it's about this person, not you. But from a clarity standpoint and emotional connection standpoint, emotional, yes. Clarity, I was, a little bit confused. Okay. I mean, this is great, but I don't want anything about your business. I'm learning about your business, so I feel like I just from coming in and having and making it about her, I feel like that was a really, really, really big miss. And just a little bit disappointing because she took a lot of the focus off of you and put it on her. However, when you did ask about your children and the way she did explain it, what I like the way she tied in the children because at the moment it is about the younger kids right now, and emphasis needs to be put on that as far as the bullying and what is happening. So I do like how she tied that in there, and she did tie in from the perspective of your family is how you've made sure and you've taken all of your experience and what you've taught to instill in them to make sure that they're not going out and doing the things that you are actually helping to protect people from.
So I find it very interesting, right? Because I did not speak about my children at all. At all. So for her to bring up kids, and I know people, so it's like cognitive dissonance. People really align with what is in their head already, and she wasn't active listening. And a lot of times when people talk about bullying, they automatically go to children. And the reality is it's more adult bullying that's occurring more than what we think because of politics and what's happening. And so I can see her hurt. Like literally, she was just there. She was hurt. She was triggered by what my background is, and I don't see that as a negative thing, right? She was triggered. She just doesn't know how to pivot. And actually, I call it after the howevers. Like you take the however and go on to something else. So she's not there yet, and I'm watching there.
Right. So for me, it literally came out. It came out as a little depressing. I can tell that she definitely needs some healing. I can tell that she definitely needs to see a therapist because of the way that she connected. And it wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it was the way in which she connected, especially when she started talking about the adult bullying and the abuse and things of that sort. So I love the fact that she was able to connect, but just it came off as a little depressing.
I feel like I did pretty good. I'm confident in this one.
They'll tell you that you're too much, too loud, too ambitious. But we are more than enough. We are a force, building each other up, breaking barriers, and creating our own path. Join us.
Entrepreneurs, you have now reached the judgment zone. 7 of you did exceptionally well to extend to the next round, although 3 of you did not. And the 3 that we have chosen for elimination is Silverman, LaKasha,
And Shanita.
Will the remaining 7 of you please leave out of the room, please? Congratulations, entrepreneurs.
Thank you. Thank you.
Silvermoon, the reason why you were put up for elimination is because we really felt like you lacked emotional connection. Somewhere along the line, it got a little foggy, and we really feel like you missed the mark completely.
LaKasha, the reason why you were put in the judgment zone is because although your presence and was very bright, we felt that your message was very confusing and it was not connected.
Shanita, the reason why you were put in the judgment zone is because we felt that, and I felt that there were things that about the challenge that you took very personally, and that's not a bad thing, but you did not actually take on the task that was provided, and so you missed the mark there.
And the entrepreneur that we have decided to save is Silvermoon. You may join the rest of the contestants. At this very moment, Dr. Pitts is about to come in, and he's going to reveal who is saved and who will be going home. Good luck, entrepreneurs.
What do you do when pain becomes your past, but purpose becomes your future? That's the pink sheep.
Entrepreneurs, we have finally reached the final stages of the judgment zone. And as you know, the judges had their deliberation, they had the discussion on which 2 will be going home. LaKasha, the judges said that your message just wasn't clear enough for them to be able to choose you to be in the top 7. Nita, the judges felt that your message was just a little bit too personal. The entrepreneur's flyer that I dropped will remain saved, and the entrepreneur that remains in my hand will go home. The entrepreneur who will be saved in this round is Nita. You came with power, you came with enthusiasm. My message to you is don't allow this to be your last time showing up and showing out. I believe in who you are and what you bring to the table, and the world will see who you are and what you've become. Continue to keep being the great entrepreneur that you are, the great mother that you are, because you are somebody. LaKasha, it's time to shape up and shape out, because the next challenge will not be easy. Entrepreneurs, it's time to level up.
Like I explained to the other cast members, Whatever God has planned for me, whether I was the first or the last to go home, this isn't the end all be all for me. This is a stepping stone to go to the next level of whatever God has for me and plan. I'm going to continue to push my book, and I'll go through a marketing company from my publishing company. And I will continue on post to work with soldiers to give briefings, to continue to inspire them to talk about the things that I cover in my book so that they can also start their process to heal. I'm an empath, so for me to not be empathetic is almost like telling me not to breathe. And what I found in the guest host or the guest judge that was here, I did identify with her in her interview. I'm a single mom, I'm a published author. I have 3 degrees from college. I'm continuing to excel even though I've experienced trauma from my own family, from them projecting their ideologies onto me that I continue to identify with and outgrow myself. So it was hard for me not to take it personal because I saw a lot of myself in her. I will also take away not to personalize to an extreme when I'm stepping out to help. I'm stepping out in this phase as a healer. So if I'm stepping out as a healer, I can't show that I've bled as much. My book, The Pink Sheep, PYNK, can be found on Amazon.com. It can be found on BarnesandNoble.com. I want to give a shout out to the staff. Dr. Pitts and everyone here has been more than phenomenal. This actually has been a pretty great experience for me. I don't plan on this being the last time you see me on TV. So I don't take it as a strike. I don't take it as a no. I take it as a just not right now. I'm getting my foot in the door though.
I'm the real, built from the fire, made for the field. No cap, no gimmicks, this is how it feels. Dreams get tested, but the vision stay real. Yeah, we the real. Work in the dark, let the results reveal. If you want the crown, better pay that bill. Welcome to the show where the winners get real. Clock on the wall, no time for excuses. Bitch under pressure, watch you really produce it. Brand on the line, gotta move like a boss. One wrong decision and they come with a cost. They talk big game, but they fall when it's real. We don't do almost.